got it. Yes.
Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to this week's edition of the Hare Krishna's in Britain podcast. This is a podcast where we travel around the UK to chat to devotees across Great Britain and Northern Ireland and anyone else who wants to get involved. This is episode number 21. And for this week's episode, we've kind of gone back down to the southeast of England. I'm hugely pleased to announce our 21st guest on the Hare Krishna's in Britain podcast as Dana Ghati Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Wonderful to see you.
Nice to see you too. And thank you for accepting the invitation to join me, because I know you were a bit hesitant to start with.
I was blackmailed. No, I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, I still owe you that 20 quid. So we're going to have a bit of a chat about Dana Ghati Prabhu. And we first met, we were kind of chatting before we started this broadcast. We think we first met, certainly in this life, we first met around 6 years ago. I was helping to organize a festival I think it was in Dartford, I think.
Yes.
And I thought, let's get in contact with the local Hare Krishnas around Dartford and see if they want to come and see if they want to help promote the festival. And I think we actually met before that day, but we met around 2014-15 around the Rochester area.
Yeah.
And I've got lots of memories of you, but one of my fondest memories of you was that I came to Rochester one Saturday, to do a Harinam and to hand out leaflets to promote this festival in Dartford. And on my team, I was the only one that turned up. And on your side, it was just you and John, who later became Jai Prabhupada.
That's right, yes.
So we've known each other a few years, which is fantastic. And recently we met up again in Rochester, beautiful Rochester, at the castle to chant the Hare Krishna mantra. So I guess let's start by Dana Ghati Prabhu telling us a bit about you and where you're from.
Well, where am I from? Originally, going back many years, it was a long time. I was actually in North London. And Father, for some reason, moved down to Medway and took over a shop. And I was let loose for months and months because I was too young to go to the junior school and not old enough to go to the senior school. So both headmasters said, no, one, you're not old enough, and the other one, you're too young. So I was actually let loose to run around the whole of Medway. It was a fantastic experience, really, in those days. There were certain areas that, not far from where we lived, the police were very reluctant to go to in the evening, at night. They used to go in mob-handed if they had to go up there. But I used to walk around there, no problem at all. It was really quite good, actually. Quite nice. Lovely people, really, when you get to know them. But
this was in Medway.
This is in Medway,
yes. which is kind of, it's North Kent, isn't it, Medway?
North Kent, yeah. I think Chatham, Rochester, Gillingham, they're all more or less one town now, really. They all merge into each other, although they still keep that status of everybody's, we live in Gillingham, we live in Rochester or whatever. Snob value there somewhere, I think. Where'd I go?
So you're from North London. Which part of North London originally?
Finchley.
Finchley.
Yeah. Then we moved to was it Edgware, around that
Edgware,
area.
Yeah. I know Edgware very well.
Right. Yeah, my grandparents used to live around there. And when my sister was born, I got shunted off to the grandparents, and they actually lived at very near a railway line. Not being used to it, you get these steam trains then, come chuffing through all day and all night, and I was thinking, I can't sleep. It was terrible, really. But yeah, lovely memories there, really. Then we moved, as I said, we moved down to Medway.
Yeah.
life moves on, I ended up going into the Merchant Navy as a steward. Started
Wow.
off, yeah, it was wow in a couple of respects. In that we got the grottiest jobs going. We were steward boys. We were up before everyone else, and we left the saloon after everyone else had got the bed for his clearing up. Especially when the passengers were not very well. If I put it that way, it's easier. Yeah, done that for a few years, then came out and went into catering again as a head waiter. I mean, when the Merchant Navy, they give you good training. Go through assistant steward, second steward, head waiter, and right up to sort of a maitre d', which was near enough. I wasn't quite that good enough for that when I came out, but I got a job as the equivalent to that, working for the MOD. And after several years of that, I was sort of poached, if you like, into going over to the dark side. This is we always say it's as a joke then, but it wasn't. The dark side was cooking. Cooking becoming a chef. Looking back at it, well, once I sort of came into Krishna consciousness and started learning about it all, that really was the dark side. You're handling all that karma, which, oh, mind you, spiritual master's taken that away for me now, hopefully. There's all that chopping up of meats, all the different, some people, even myself now, I don't like talking about it. Kids got to handle all these dead animals, really, when it comes down to it. Not very nice now looking back at it. At the time, yes, it's hard work. You did really work hard in these places. Where do we jump to next from there?
Well, we've talked a bit about your background. I mean, I'm impressed you were in the Merchant Navy. So, I mean, what kind of decade was that? When were you in the Navy?
You don't ask ladies then. No. Right.
It was some time. It was a few years ago. It was a
long time ago. Yeah. It was actually at the time when the £10 fares to Australia, I think they were starting to come to an end. People could migrate to Australia for 10 quid.
Wow.
Yes. Yeah. Life was really hard for a lot of them out there. A lot of them really didn't know how hard it could be out there. Yeah, I'm trying to think. Yeah, it was a long time ago that I did that. But we also went all around the world, and one of the places we stopped, and it was only briefly, it was sort of unload, load, and go out again. It was a big liner. Was India. And my recollection of it was very hot, sticky, and noisy. I'm not sure where we pulled into it. I think there was two places, Ceylon as it was, Sri Lanka, and there was somewhere else up further on the left-hand side of India.
Maybe Goa or Kerala, possibly.
I can't honestly say now for certain. But yeah, that was the first contact with India.
Yeah. So you've during your time in the Merchant Navy, you visited a lot of countries.
Yes, the other one. I think Krishna was pushing me. We're not quite hard enough. We went to San Francisco.
Wow.
Late 60s, and we had a day off. We didn't get much time off. It was sort of not 24-hour day job, but you were on call virtually. We got a whole day off in San Francisco wandering around. And I always look back. The one place we didn't go is up one of these big steep hills. And it would have been up to Haight-Ashbury. If only we'd known. We might have found some Hare Krishnas there. I might have not come back to England then. But yeah, that was the time of hippies, flower power people. Really was late 60s there. Fantastic feeling.
I actually wouldn't have mind living in the 1960s. I mean, I probably was in a previous life, possibly, maybe, but I would love to have been in the 60s to experience what it was really like.
Oh yeah, I mean here in the 60s, the late 60s, yeah, 70s, we used to get a phone call 7, 8 o'clock at night. Said, "Hey Don, we're having a happening." It was happenings. We didn't have parties, we had all raves. It was happening. We're having a gathering. We have to get right. Okay, we'll be down. And this is about half an hour ride away. And this is during the week when we had to get up for the next day as well. So we're all down there. And this is before the breathalyzer as well. Yes. And of course, there's parties, you take bottles there, everybody throws everything in, and that's it. You come away from there, could be any time in the morning. You come home, breakfast, get ready for work, and off again.
A night of no sleep and then going to work.
Oh yes, yeah.
Not comfortable. Not comfortable.
I couldn't do it now. I mean, even nowadays, these youngsters, they have a couple of drinks at home. They don't go out till about 9, 10 o'clock at night. We were already out raving by that time. We're still going on in the morning, but not them. They got no stamina.
So, in terms of your kind of journey into Krishna consciousness, we were chatting before we started this broadcast, and you told me that you are actually a yoga teacher.
Yes, everybody asks me how long. I keep trying to forget it because it's so long ago. It's about 38, 40 years now. At one time, I was working full time and running 6 classes at a time. I was very thin then. A lot, yeah. I mean, doing that sort of amount of work.
That's quite radical in the sense that 40 years ago, you were teaching yoga 40 or almost 40 years ago. I mean, yoga now is quite trendy and it's kind of mainstream-ish. But 40 years ago, it must have been extremely fringe in terms of people really thinking it might have been a bit odd or far out. You know.
Yeah, you said odd, yes. Because he used to go to these parties and friends says, "Oh, this is Don, he's a yoga teacher." And you see the look on their people's faces, they went, "Oh no, he's one of them, he's a bit weird."
Yeah, he's a bit of a hippie, a bit odd.
Yeah, and male teachers, there were very, very few and far between. It was ladies teaching it, really. That really came about, if we got time for this. That time, television, you had young mums at home with babies, looking after them. They couldn't go to, they didn't have gyms for ladies then, or these ladies didn't go to gyms as such. And one of the programs was on there was a yoga program by this guy, and I've got his book behind me, but I can't think of his name. No, not Ian Rawlinson, he's later. And he used to talk people through all these different yoga asanas, the different positions, but he never did it himself. He had all these young, slim, pretty, well made up ladies in, girls in leotards and what have you, all sort of prancing around saying, "Oh, look at me, aren't I good? I can do all this." That's how a lot of women got into yoga. From there, you get quite a lot of them wanting to teach it. And that's why you got really so many ladies teaching it. Whereas originally, it was a male-dominated thing in India more. But coming the way it was presented in England, and in many respects, it sort of spiritualized it. As you said, it's really sort of mainstream now. People do it as an exercise, which is not what it's meant for. It's meant to lead you from, all right, beginning, it's an exercise, you struggle, you huff and puff, you ache, and you work slowly into it. But it is a joining, eventually we hope, joining of the mind and body, and leading into back to yoga of devotion. I don't really know of many teachers who actually teach back to yoga in their classes. I mean, I know two people I've taught over the years. They have become teachers. They don't really teach the devotional side of it. It is more exercise orientated, which really, I think in the teaching programs they should push that more, really, so that the people they taught or teach, they actually bring it on to others.
So what was it all those years ago that first attracted you to yoga and to become a yoga teacher?
Right, I got quite a long story short. I hurt my back. I was actually off work for something like 6 months before I could actually got an appointment to see the consultant up the hospital. He sent me to see this other person, and to this day I can still see him. I sort of staggered in, shuffled into his waiting room, and he said, "Hop up onto the couch." Now, there's not something you can say to someone who's got a really bad back problem. He said, "All right, no, first touch your toes." And what I'd learned is if you hang on to something, I can lean down. He said, "Oh no, don't hang on to anything." I said, "I can't do it then." I said, "It'll kill me." And he said, "Right, hop up onto the bench." And I said, "I might need a hand." And the look on his face was, "Oh, must I?" And that really sort of struck me. He's supposed to be a caring professional. Anyway, he managed to get up there, and he was sort of rocking me and pushing me. He said, "Relax." I said, "Oh, well, if you stop for a minute, I'll be able to relax and you can do what." Anyway, he sort of pushed and pulled, and then suddenly snapped one way and the other, and I heard a little crack. He said, "Right, okay, that's it. I think we'll fit you with a surgical corset." I thought, "Do what?" I was actually working at the time with the guy who actually had one. And when I went back to work, he said, "Don't ever do it. I can't get rid of mine now," because his body was so used to it. All the muscles have sort of gone, relaxed and finished. I only ever wore that twice. Once when I took an end, I used to take cars apart in spare time. Yeah, another thing. I didn't used to bother going and getting engine hoists or anything like that. In those days, the engine compartment you could get in. And it was strapped around the engine, strapped around the shoulders, crouching down, lift the engine up, off onto the side. The hardest part was actually getting out the engine bay and holding the engine on the cross member at the front and getting down, then lifting it off, physically lifting the whole engine out and down. Which didn't have. Sorry, I'm talking.
Don't worry. I know a number of people that take cars apart for fun.
Not that. But anyway, this guy gave me that. One Christmas, I was still bad. I was popping these tablets all day long, and they're making no effect. I was high on these things. I really was. I was floating around, which is a dangerous thing to do at work. Come Christmas, my sister came down. We had a family gathering, and she said, "Why don't you try yoga?" I sort of looked at her like most people do in those. Oh, right. Here we go. Anyway, I did. I enrolled. I went to talk. I enrolled in the class, talked to the teacher, and I told her, she said, "Yeah, okay, we'll give it a go. I think you'll be all right." 6 months later, I actually came home from work and realised I've not taken any painkillers that day. And from that day on, I sort of progressed.
Wow.
Over the years, it's helped a little bit. No, not helped. Sorry, I played up a little bit over the years, once or twice. But generally speaking, fantastic. For help physically, getting you back into reasonable condition, it is really a good system. It is a total system. From there, I started getting more and more into it, and ended up taking a course and becoming a yoga teacher. From there on, well, now I've ended up in this place called, what's it called? It's Krishna Consciousness.
that's kind of a good lead up, isn't it? Because it's your activities and your interest in yoga that kind of led you in the end to Krishna consciousness.
That is true. Yeah, when we were being taught, we never really were sort of pushed or talked about bhakti yoga or what is beyond the physical, physical element of yoga. We had to find that out for ourselves. One of the big things, and I'm jumping a little bit ahead, one of the big things that came out of it, I'm actually able now to actually tell or say to people, I have moderate dyslexia. But never before. I mean, there's even friends now that still really don't know. That is why I was so actually, say myself, quite good with my hands. I could, give me an engine in bits and I'll give it back to you, even minus one or two nuts and bolts, but it'll run as good, if not better, than when it came out of the factory. I've always been able to do that. So I think that's a sort of a compensation somehow in that respect. If it wasn't for Krishna consciousness and people, the family, really, I would never have been able to stand up and group and say, look, I've got moderate dyslexia. I can do this. I can do that. So can you. That, it's really amazing, an amazing family. The ISKCON movement is. They're so friendly and helpful. Everyone is so helpful in it. It's just unbelievable.
So do you find and feel that Krishna consciousness, the devotee community, has helped you to become more confident in yourself?
Yes, it does. Yeah. I mean, if you struggle, I mean, I look at some of the texts and you see a Sanskrit word about 16 letters long, and they're not in an order you would normally. An English mind would see, and you're going, you're pulling your faces, trying to work it out, and someone will say, "Oh no, if you do that, and it's run." How did they do that? They're so helpful like that. If you're really stuck, you could phone up someone, text someone, message them, and say, "How do you actually pronounce this word?" 16 letters long. And they'll come back and say, no, they're not. Oh no, here we go. It's none of that. It's no problem at all, Prabhu. It is such and such and such, and it's done. It is. Everybody really helpful. It's amazing, really. Unlike a lot of well, it's not a religion, is it? It's a faith. You get a lot of faiths that are more dogma orientated. You have to do this. You have to do that, and Krishna consciousness is not that. It's a lot more. It really is. I'm not that eloquent, but it is so fantastic. It really is. I mean, we have people coming who are Catholics. We've not had any Muslim people come yet. I think they're just sort of off the scale at the moment. But we do get people from all different religions. We don't try and indoctrinate them into Krishna consciousness. If they want to come, that's fine. But they find, there was one lady, she said, this is nice, this is fantastic, the meditations are great. When I go to church, I now find that I can concentrate, meditate more. And when I'm talking, repeating a prayer, she feels she's going deeper into it. And that's something she's itchy on the way really, because she might come to Krishna consciousness eventually. I don't know, but the point is, it's helping her to find her way. We hope we should be. I think.
So, tell us a bit, Dana Ghati Prabhu, a bit about your kind of over the last few years, getting more involved in the Hare Krishna movement and initiation. You've only been initiated, I think, probably about the same amount of time as me, around 4 or 5 years, possibly.
Yes.
So tell us a bit about that journey and how you chose a guru and how all that worked for you.
Oh, yes. One little question like that is enormous. How did I get initiated? Oh, I know how I got initiated. I think the hardest thing I found was actually finding the right spiritual master. Because, I mean, there is, when you start looking on the Islam website or Desire Tree website at all the Swamis and gurus there's a big long list. You go from A to Z. You think, oh my! I actually broke it down over a period of time down to 3 people. Then it's sort of 2, and I ended up with that's not quite the right word.
I'm sure your Maharaj won't be offended.
He'll never forget. Actually, he will. He's got a lovely sense of humour. It's some of the photographs. You can see that little twinkle in his eye. He's got that sort of look. He said, "Yeah, I know what you're up to." Kadamba Kanana. I watched a lot of his programs. The talks he gives are fantastic, but his kirtans, you cannot believe, they're ecstatic. They really do. I mean, he's going on that harmonium. You see the harmonium rocking as well as him. He's going, and the whole crowd really ecstatic. It's great. But one of the best, which actually, in a way, is a bit of a shock. He taken a class. I can't remember where it was. It might have been Radadesh 2 or 3 years ago. It was very mellow. And the difference between his normal sort of building up to really rocking and shaking the whole building, it was so soft. It was, as I said, mellow is the only word you can talk. It really sort of sunk in. I don't know what other people felt, but I was like, I just could, it really was a fantastic experience. I've always remembered that. But actually, so getting into Krishna. Yeah, sorry.
You can say what you want in whatever order you want. I'm not going anywhere.
Oh, great. First time I ever come across them was weird, actually. Right, I was in my hometown, Gillingham now. I was in the high street. I think I was buying some groceries. And I heard this noise, ting, ting, ting. What on earth is that noise? Ting, ting, ting. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, no, what on earth's going on? So I came out, we're all standing around looking, and down the high street, you couldn't quite see them because there's a little kink in the high street. They come down, they're getting louder and louder, and then you could see them. There's these weird guys, heads shaved, bright orange robes, dancing around, all in a long line, and they've got this funny drum, madranga, and the cartel's going. I thought, what on earth are they? They all look so happy, but this long line come platter, sort of, yay, yay, and off they went. And that was a long, long time. I thought, who on earth are they? Where did they come from? That was the first contact with them. And then we move on quite a long number of years. And this, one of my yoga students told me, said that there was this lovely, unusual, peculiar shop opened up in Rochester called Closet Krishna. And he said, you want to go and have a look, you'll like it there. What does that say about me if it's a bit unusual and weird? So anyway, I went along there and I met there was a couple of managers, a couple of other people working in the shop. Mukunda Kishore Das, talked to him a little bit. It was lovely. I didn't want to leave the shop because it felt so cozy, homely. Anyway, I did afterwards. I came away with a book. And he said, if you come along next Friday evening at 7:30, ring the bell, someone will come and let you in. We've got a little program upstairs. You don't have to do anything. You can sit there, just listen, but we give away some free food. I thought, that sounds interesting. That was it. Oh, food. Yeah, didn't realise what it was called then. Anyway, I went along, and basically, that was it. Hook, line and sinker. Ever since then.
And this was, if anyone's listening who's not sure, the Closet Krishna shop was in Rochester, wasn't it?
That was. It was
which
there
is Kent.
Yeah. Rochester, Kent, yeah.
Yeah.
The first charity shop supported by London Isfara. Unfortunately, it did struggle, unfortunately, but it did, drawing a lot of people, lots of people went into it. It was really, and they did, a lot of people came. They didn't stay, but they came and joined in some of the programs, which was nice, actually. So the seed was actually planted, really, in a lot of people from that shop. As I said, unfortunately, it did struggle. It was supported by the London Temple for 3, 4, 5 years, but it did finally, unfortunately, have to close. I mean, we still meet every Friday at the Friends Meeting House, Quakers Friends Meeting House in Rochester. That's every 7 o'clock, near enough every time, every Friday. There are odd days that we don't. Summertime, we like to get out in the open into Rochester Castle grounds, have a Kirtan there and Prashadam, which we've been doing for last year, 2 years now. It goes down very well. Nobody's ever complained yet about us. And we've got a couple of banners I've made up, Hare Krishna banners. It's lovely. I've got some books with us and leaflets. So
you've got a wonderful little devotee community there in Rochester. When I came to Rochester to see you for the Namahata a few weeks ago, I went for a little walk around the town after, and it felt quite nostalgic because I walked past that shop, which is no longer an ISKCON shop, and I just reminded me of how wonderful that place was. You know, I think it's maybe an old Tudor building. Is it that old?
I believe it does go back that far. Parts of it that far, yes, yeah.
And it's a very, I mean, obviously Krishna is attracting people ultimately, but there's that material physical element that it's a very beautiful Tudor style building or house or shop front, which is just, I think it's a hairdresser's now, actually, if I'm honest.
It is, yes, yeah.
Yeah, which is a bit different from what the devotees were doing there. But yeah, I mean, and Rochester's a beautiful town. I didn't realize until I met with you guys recently that I think Charles Dickens lived there for a while in Rochester.
Oh, he visited, yes.
He visited.
I can't think of the name of the house. Bleak House. Just outside, a little bit away outside Rochester. Oh no, there is a place in Chatham he lived for a little while, up near the station, but then there was another place also. I mean, a lot of the settings from his books were taken from around Gravesend. Was one of them. Must have been really grim in those days. But
Victorian England, very grim.
Yeah, that's a whole book.
Yeah. But so it was just always quite magical to find this wonderful Hare Krishna shop in Rochester, which is kind of an historic English town.
Oh yes,
with links to Charles Dickens and English literature and stuff like that. So yeah, I always find it really, really wonderful to visit. And you've got your programs, as you say, on Friday nights in Rochester at the Quakers Friends Meeting House.
The Quakers Meeting House. Yeah,
I think the organization's got two names. I think they're known as the Quakers, and they're also known as the Society of Friends.
Yes, that's right.
Which is like a very liberal Christian branch. I mean, they're so liberal, some Quakers don't believe in God. But I mean, I've not been to any Quakers meetings, but my understanding with the Quakers is that there's no structure to the meeting. So they'll come to the meeting house and they'll just wait for God or wait for the Holy Spirit, or some of them might speak and some of them might not. And if nobody wants to say anything, they're saying in silence for an hour.
It's mine. I've never been to one, but I've been told that is more or less what it is. They all sit around. If someone stands up and starts talking, it's coming from God.
Yeah, and if they're quaking or they're shaking, they're quaking because of some spiritual experience, which I'm kind of trying to link this back to Krishna consciousness now in terms of the Hare Krishnas quake a lot, I guess.
Yes, because it is because they are very liberal. They're great. There are one or two organisations that don't really like us much. They got their own sort of way. No, we can't do it. It's the same with the yoga. When I've been looking for a new hall, you go down to one of the, I can't think, I think it might have been the Mormons. Oh yeah, it was the Mormons. They had a beautiful church in Raynham, not far from here. Big hall as well. Oh no, we can't do that. Oh no, there's that sort of yoga. Another hall I went to, and I only got just in the front door, and this gentleman came up, and I said, "Yeah, I'm looking for a hall to actually teach yoga, and people, practically people, would like to come along and see how it goes." She said, "Oh no, we can't do that. The elders wouldn't like that. Very stern, but no." Oh, what's the matter? Don't you not? I've got to leave it. There was a nice gentleman, not to my. I was not in contact with him, but another teacher in Wales went to see this vicar. Oh, I think he was a vicar. I'm not 100% sure about using the hall. He says, "Oh no, we can't have the devil coming in here." He was adamant. "We can't have that. No. Oh, you'll be corrupting all the parishioners." No, yeah, it was really bad. You think, no, actually. Anyway,
yeah. I mean, I think. I'm going to make an assumption here. I think a number of the ISKCON Namahattas around the UK are meeting in places like Quakers meeting houses, because the Quakers have been always very open to the Hare Krishnas, and they're very kind of community minded. I mean, I'm very keen to come to one of your Namahattas over the next few months, maybe.
All the time would be lovely. Anytime, yes.
To Rochester, and I've met quite a few of the devotees in your Sanga. Sounds a bit clubbish, doesn't it? In the North Kent Hare Krishna Sanga, and you're all wonderful devotees, and it's encouraging to feel your enthusiasm for Krishna consciousness.
I wish we could get it out to more people. It would be really nice to have. I mean, even if people only come once or twice, the seed is planted when it comes down to it. I think Prabhupada said something on the lines, I'm not sure the exact words. He will teach, even if there's only him there. I think something along those lines.
Yeah.
Words. It would be nice if we could actually get more people interested in coming. They don't have to do anything. I mean, there's one lady, she comes very regularly. She just sits there, eyes closed, hands, and she listens, especially to the chanting, Maha-Mantra. Oh, yes, that's it. You can, her feet start to go when you go. That's it. Her head goes, the eyes are closed, but she's still, she's listening. That is, it's really nice.
So, Dana Ghati, tell us a bit about your family, if possible. Your family are devotees or not devotees?
No, not at all. No.
So what do you think about you kind of later on in life joining the Hare Krishnas? How has that all worked out?
Unusual. It's a bit of a shock in a way, really, at this time. So we say my time of life. I mean, if you think of life as a year, the seasons, spring, summer, autumn, so the winter is coming on, it's rushing on. It's not slowly, it's gathering pace and coming closer. It would have been nice, really nice to actually found Krishna consciousness earlier, but obviously that wasn't my path. My path is different. Now I'm trying to think. Think of his name, a speaker we had once. He did past life regression. All right, always been interested in that way. Anyway, I've tried it, and one of the things I was a Buddhist monk.
Wow.
Yeah, it was actually. I'm trying to think of the timeline. I did that. Then, before that, no, sorry, I'm jumping about a bit.
Don't worry about it. Don't worry.
Even edit this out, I know. A group of us went to China for a holiday, and usual touristy things, all really good. Actually, really, there was too much put into the whole program, but it was a bit of a rush. One of the things I picked up was my name in Chinese and a translation underneath. I'll tell you that bit in a minute. Okay, the past life regression, we'll jump forward. Mukunda actually put something on their website about Buddhists, when they pass on, have a choice of never coming back or the opportunity to come back and teach others. My name in Chinese was favor and path. Road. Favor and road. So looking back at my life, when I was cooking, I taught a load of youngsters. In yoga, I've been teaching people, taking them along their path. And I've now been led to Krishna.
Hare Bol.
Yeah, yes. Those three sort of things sort of came with it over, I think, about 18 months. But when I sort of suddenly got that light bulb on, hold on a minute. Favor, path, yes, I'm helping people, yeah, teaching. And then, well, the monk piece, yeah, the past life regression and that little thing that Mukunda put up. Oh, yeah. I've obviously come back time and time again to teach more and more people. I thought, I don't want to come back again. This is it, the last one, I hope. Yeah, yes.
Well, I was just about to say, I hope that you're around for many, many more years yet to, share Krishna consciousness with others and with me whenever I visit Kent. And,
that'd be wonderful.
And I have to say, I felt quite warm whenever I've been around you. And I remember when we first met, and I always find meeting you quite encouraging and infectious in a positive way. Because on one side of the coin, I'm always really encouraged when Westerners become Krishna conscious. And that's so important because Prabhupada came to the West to share Krishna consciousness with Western people. And ultimately, we want more English people, British people, whatever, to join this movement. And
yes.
So I was always very encouraged meeting you. And I think because I'd noticed that you'd come to Krishna consciousness older and a bit later on in life. Which I find encouraging because, I mean, I'm sure most sociologists and psychologists will tell you that it's in people's kind of teenage years and 20s and maybe the first bit of their 30s that they're kind of exploring and looking for answers and philosophy. But usually by the time they're kind of 60 or 70, they've made their mind up. And as people get older, they become more set in their ways.
Yes.
They're not willing to try new things. I mean, my grandparents who are left many, many years ago were very, as people are as they get old, very set in their ways.
Yes, that is quite right. Yeah. I mean, my son's in-laws, they're lovely people, but they're old.
They're old.
Yeah, they are a bit older than me, but they're really sort of old in their outlook, their ways. Hey, if someone needed a hand or, wanted something off of the roof, I'd get a ladder and go up there. Don't think anything of it, But someone like some in-laws, oh no, we'll have to go and find someone to do that. Me, I'm up there and done it. That's it. Yeah, so it's different on the outlook. I mean, the family know I'm into Krishna consciousness. Son and daughter, no problem. The wife's not that keen on it at all, really. Even though above the screen you can't see it, you've got Krishna up there, Jagannath, Subhadra, and my spiritual master. He's wonderful. There's Kirtan on the Thames. Did you ever go to that?
On the boat? On the no, I didn't. No.
Oh, you don't know what he's missing.
I have done kirtan on a boat on the Thames, but it's not one of the events that you're thinking of, I don't think.
No, this was the biggest boat they could get, and it was filled. And I actually had a beautiful. I think this was to celebrate the 50th anniversary of ISKCON, was it? Yes. There.
Wow, that's on your Facebook profile, that photo.
Yes, that one. Yeah, and I always remember that's beautiful. That was on the middle deck, and there's all the kirtan going on in the background, and you sort of, that's why I'm leaning forward, like they're trying to listen and hear him.
It looks like your Guru Maharaj was kind of passing on a transcendental message, kind of kind of whispering into your ear, like passing on the mantra, or that's what it. So that, I actually thought that was at your initiation, that photo. No, that was lovely. Actually, I didn't get a chance to really talk to him on my initiation, unfortunately. But this picture, I mean, it's my niece's husband, when he saw this picture, he said, "Oh, brothers." Hey, oh yeah, all right. There is that sort of likeness, I suppose, really. Yeah, and also it's kind of interesting because in age, you're older than your Guru Maharaj.
Yes.
So it must be quite an interesting relationship, because most what do I say now? Most of the gurus in ISKCON are, over 65, over 70. So most of us are younger or a lot younger than our Guru Maharajas, and that was definitely the case for Srila Prabhupada, definitely, and it still is the case now, 40 years later. So it's just quite intriguing to meet someone who, biologically, I guess, is older than their spiritual master. Yeah,
it's in a way, it's a bit of a different disadvantage, because you got all you youngsters come along and see me and say, "Oh, you must have one of Prabhupada's devotees." Yeah.
Well, when I first met you, you're still using your legal name,
yes,
Don. So I kind of assumed that you'd come later on in life.
Yeah, it is. A lot of people see you. They just see this old bald fella. Well, nearly. And they assume. People assume things, as you said. They assume that being that age, you must have known Prabhupada. And it's not the case. It can be. They come up to you and say, "Did you know Prabhupada? Can you?" Then I thought, here we go. They wanted me to bless them. I thought, I can't do this.
Well, I would love to see more people of an older disposition joining the Hare Krishna movement. I'd like to see lots of people, period, irrespective of their age or their skin color or their gender, joining the Hare Krishna movement. We've got a long way to go to kind of, get to that kind of sizable impact, make a difference, noticeable level.
Yes, yeah. This is where I think when the Indian, Asian people come, the whole family comes, or ends up coming, which is really, because their outlook on family is different to the Western look. I mean, they seem, it's me, I believe or think they do. They seem to look after the older members of the family more than we do, unfortunately. We somehow have lost that down the road.
People in Asian and I think African communities as well are a lot better at looking after the elderly. I mean, we have home care agencies in Western society, in the UK, to care for people because their children are too busy or grandchildren are too busy.
Yes, yeah.
Or live 5 hours away up the motorway.
Yes, yeah, that is unfortunate, really. I mean, that is one of the things I think, being in the West and being very sort of mobile, so people just travel, whereas Asia, Africa, people don't. Well, they are getting more so, travel as much or as far as we do. I mean, we think nothing. Oh, we go on holiday into Scotland. Yeah, you say something to an African person. Oh, yeah, it's about 600 miles that way. You got to go. Oh, that'll be 10 days, sort of thing. You know, they're walking it, so they actually don't do that sort of quite so much as us. Which is, you do tend to lose a lot when people can spread out and go wherever. It's it's nice to have freedom. It's also nice to have that family group, really. And you're looking after each other. And doesn't matter if Granny's a little bit gaga, but you look after her. Whereas in England, you get home care or put into a home, really, which is really nice.
Well, I'm really pleased, Dana Ghati Prabhu, that you found that kind of family feeling. I mean, I know you've got it with your family anyway, but I'm really pleased that you found that in the Hare Krishna movement. And I'm really pleased that you have very willingly agreed to be the guest on this week's podcast. It's been fantastic to talk to you. Believe it or not, we've chatted for well over an hour.
Really?
Yeah, maybe an hour, 15 minutes. Possibly, which is quite phenomenal. So what I'll do is above this podcast, I'll put links to the North Kent Hare Krishna Sanga website.
Oh, wonderful.
And Facebook page, and put your email address. So people living in that kind of North Kent area or even Far East London, my geography is terrible, can get involved. It's kind of Rochester. If you're living in Rochester or anywhere around there, you know, you can get involved. You meet Friday nights, don't you? Your Namahatas on Friday nights?
Yeah. Yes, Friday night, 7 o'clock. It's not on next Friday because we're on holiday tour. So, but anyway, normally
you're allowed to go on holiday. It's fine.
7 o'clock. 7 till about 9:30ish. You come along, enjoy. We feed you, Prashadam.
Wow.
Wonderful, and you can contact us anytime, really. We talk to anybody for any time, length of time, like over an hour and a quarter on this podcast. But it'll be great to see more people coming. It really would.
Hare. Well, thank you so much, Dana Ghati Prabhu, for being the guest on this week's edition, episode 21 of the Hare Krishnas in Britain podcast. Hare Krishna, thank you.
Hare Krishna.
21. Yeah. The years fly by. So if you are watching this podcast on YouTube, please do like it and put a wonderful comment and share it with your friends. If you're also watching it on Facebook as well, please do like it, put a comment, share it, and to subscribe or like the Hare Krishna Project Facebook page, where you can see more podcasts in the future. And follow this Facebook page, follow this YouTube channel, and, you know, for next week's edition. So thank you, and Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.